Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Gauge heads-up display.
Check.
4-door preferences from home interface.
Will do, sir.
All right, what do you say?
I have indeed been uploaded, sir. We're online and ready.
Okay, so I want a personal AI assistant just like this. I can pay whatever the amount you want, but the thing is, there is no such AI that can talk and act like your personal assistants until 2021. So now we got the Chat GPT, right? We can make use of that to create an AI just like Jarvis. In the previous video, I had created Chat GPT with the OpenAI's API key. But today, I'm going to create a real personal assistant that will respond to my command just like Chat GPT does. It's possible. Let me tell you how. I'm going to train my AI and teach him how to act and speak like humans. Of course, Star would have done that. First, I'm going to create a Next.js application and I'm going to train my AI. Here's the catch. We are currently working on a project that involves creating a chatbot using Chat GPT and Whisper API, which will be incorporated into a Next.js application. One of the key features of this chatbot is its customizability. Users can choose the bot's role, personality, and brevity level according to their preferences. The chatbot is designed to be versatile, allowing users to interact with through both text messages and voice recordings. In response, the Chat GPT can provide either textual or audio feedback. To build this functionality, first let's create a file called index.tsx, and here we'll import several libraries such as Next.js, React, and Maritime, and also the UI libraries. Additionally, an interface called message schema is defined to represent the message structure of the chatbot's communication. Furthermore, we'll include a variety of constants that allows for easy customization of chatbot's behavior based on its role, personality, and its brevity level. These constants comes in handy later on in this project. The heart of this application is the home function, which manages the chatbot's behavior by defining various states such as loading and error states, as well as an array to store messages. To monitor changes in the messages array, the use effect hook is utilized. If the last message was not sent by the system, a request is made to the Chat GPT API to generate a response. The GPT request function is responsible for sending a request to a Chat GPT API and updating the messages array within the response. On the other hand, the update message array function adds a new message from the user to the message array. Moreover, the Whisper request function sends a voice recording to the Whisper API and updates the message array within the response. Finally, the UI components such as the chat window and the input field are created using the maintain library to complete this application. Now, let's import and use several components and functions to create a custom document component for Next.js. To do that, let's create a file called document.tsx. In this file, the create get initial props function is imported from the Next package to create a get initial props function that can be used within the Next.js. The document head, HTML, main, and next script components from the next/document modules are also imported to create the structure of an HTML document for the custom component. The custom document component is exported as the default export of the module, and the getInitialProps function created earlier is set to a static getInitialProps method of the component. This method is used to fetch the data and render the initial HTML for a page. The render function for a custom document component is defined in this method, which returns the basic structure of an HTML document within the necessary component for loading client-side scripts and metadata. Let's create a new file called app.tsx. Here we'll import the maintain provider component from the core library. The maintain provider is a wrapper component that provides the theme and other global styles to the entire app. Alright, now we'll import the app props type from the app module, which defines the props that will be passed to the top level app component in the Next.js. And we'll import the head component from the head module, which allows you to modify the head of the HTML pages generated by the Next.js. The app component is then exported as the default export of this module, which receives the component and page props as props from the app props type. Then the app component returns the set title of the HTML page to Spotify and adds a meta tag to set the viewport to the appropriate scale for mobile devices using the head component. The maintain provider wraps a component within the page props and applies the dark color scheme, global styles, and normalized CSS to the app. Finally, the component is rendered with the page props. Next, we'll create a new file called whisper.ts and let's import the required modules such as form data to create form data, next multiparty to handle file uploads, and fs to read a file stream. The Next.js configuration object is exported, which disables the default body phasing as the Next multiparty package already handles the request body. Additionally, a function is exported that uses a with file upload higher order function to handle file uploads, which takes rec and res objects as parameters and is an asynchronous function. Next, we'll perform several actions to handle file uploads. First, they check if a file was uploaded within the request, and if not, they send a 400 bad request status code with the error message and exit the function. If a file was uploaded, they create a new form data instance and append the uploaded file to it. Then they use the fetch function to send a post request to the OpenAI API with the form data as the request body and the authorization header set to OpenAI API key environment variable. They parse the response body as JSON and checks if the response was successful, and if so, they send a 200 OK status code with the transcribed text as the response body. If response was not successful, they log an error message and send a 400 bad request status code with an error message. Then we'll create a new file for handling API requests from OpenAI. So first, let's import the types for the Next.js, request and response objects which are used in the function signature for the API route handler. The TypeScript interface defined here is for a message that includes a role for an assistant, a user or a system and the message content. Then we'll create a function for handling the API route. So this function takes the Next.js request and response object as parameters and performs actions to send a post request to OpenAI chat endpoint and handle the response. Then we'll create a send post request to OpenAI chat endpoint with the API key in the authorization header and a chat model and messages in the request body. The response is stored in the response variable. Then we'll extract the choices and error properties from the response JSON. Finally, we'll check if the response was successful, and if it was, it extracts the message content and sends it as a response. If response was not successful, it sends a 500 error with the error message. Now let's run the app in the development mode. By the way, you can change the configuration of the Chat GPT context by opening up the index.tsx file in the pages folder, and you can train the AI however you want. All you need to do is change this part of configuration settings to set up the Chat GPT according to your needs. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.